don't get me wrong, like we do need to let the back leg lengthen in the backswing, add some flex to the lead leg. We don't want to keep them locked in place by any means. However, there are a lot of people out there that think that just changing your knee flex is turning the hips, but it actually gives you kind of this fake appearance and actually adds what's called too much tilt or angle to your hips as well. Now, when we look at what Lincoln did in that shot, and we'll put a slow-mo replay up of his shot, you'll see that his head actually dipped down a lot. And that's very common that we're going to see players do that, right?
Absolutely. Any action has an equal and opposite reaction. There's a fancy word for my physics of the day. But if I slam my pressure back into my heel that quickly, you can just see how much my upper body just falls forward just to keep balance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like the more that happens, the more I'm down towards the golf ball, which can hinder how I'm going to come through the golf ball. But more importantly, I'm not able to get loaded around my body. I'm not in any sort of balance and compensation city in the downswing.
Yeah, for sure. And look, I love using, we've got a very light medicine ball here, but there are so many drills and exercises we can use with a medicine ball in the golf swing to help you improve your golf swing. But today we're going to be talking specifically around using the legs. Now, recommendation here, no more than 4 pound, I would say. Probably 2 pound is probably the best size. Around a small basketball size as well is what you're going to need here. But Link, why don't you put this between your legs and kind of talk about how the legs actually should work?
Okay. So I want it to be, the main thing is that we want it kind of setting in just above the knees. And it's not necessarily all about the weight. I just want to make sure that the size of it is where your legs would normally be. So we don't want the like the knees to have to shoot out to fit some sort of big
no
ball.
sumo action over the ball.
Or like a softball where your knees would collapse in.
Correct.
We're just creating a little bit of stability here. And Kerrod hit the nail on the head that just because we're putting a medicine ball in between our legs doesn't mean that we want to keep our knees flexed and keep this stability here. We do need the right leg to extend. We do need the knees to change flex, and we do need some tilt to our pelvis to create that rotation we're looking for. The thing that this creates for people is if my knee flexes too quickly and then the trail leg extends too quickly, it creates a gap here.
Yeah.
And you can see my right butt cheek kind of pop out this direction.
It's a great disco move, but it doesn't really work as for the golf swing, right?
Save it for the dance floor, right?
Maybe not a great disco move.
Well, maybe at one point in time. But what this is going to do is it's actually going to help me extend my right leg, bend my left knee, but you can see my left knee is actually working a little bit more in towards my center line. Kind of like a Sam Snead type move where everything's kind of unweighting. I'm getting pressure into this right leg, but you can see I haven't fallen forward. My hips are able to rotate a little bit better because this knee hasn't gone out or this direction. I've seen all sorts of moves where this knee kind of goes towards the target or out towards the golf ball. All of that is hindering your loading of your hips. They might be turning, but you're not getting any load, especially if your upper body's falling.
Now, put that ball back between your legs for me. And really, I suppose we're going to look at what Lincoln was doing in that very first swing compared to now, what he's doing with the ball in between his legs. So set up to the ball for me. And what I want you to do is swing to the top lane.
Good one?
Yep. Notice how his head didn't dip. I had my golf club just above his brow line. In the previous swing, he would have gone straight through that and knocked himself out. Now, when he's done that, notice trail leg has extended, front leg has flexed. He's maintained his inclination with the ground. So his front bend has been replaced with side bend, which then allows him to get the golf club in a great position to strike down on the golf ball. But he looks very coiled. How does the pressure feel in your feet there, Link?
I was going to say, I feel so balanced, and I feel like pressure has loaded into my right leg without it just straight slamming to my heel with no pressure over there. Because a big thing that happens too, like when this happens, a lot of pressure stays over here in the ball of my left foot.
Yeah.
And your upper body's falling that way too. So all that pressure is not getting loaded into your right heel properly just because you've made this kind of this move that's putting you in that position.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about how the legs need to work in the backswing. Now, there is a moment in time where that ball is going to drop, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that. It is in the when?
Transition.
Perfect. And so by placing a ball between your legs, keeping it in the backswing, and then in that transition move, when the left knee is going to shift out over and your pressure is going to go to the ball of your left foot here, we're actually going to create some space between your legs. That really helps you grip the ground, create some more force and pressure into that ground, which without getting complicated, helps you swing it faster and translate that energy into the golf ball. Now, Link, do you recommend players use the medicine ball when they're actually hitting shots?
It depends. I would work into it. I would move at a super slow pace. I do like the idea of starting slow with it in a pivot style manner.
Yep.
So first things first, like kind of getting things moving how you want to. Kind of looking in the mirror is good to kind of see where your left knee is going. So your knees should kind of look kind of like this, where there's a little bit of tilt to them without getting too excessively the knee going towards
the
Kerrod.
good thing is like by having the ball in there, all that good stuff will happen because otherwise the ball will drop out.
Right.
But connecting the visual with the feel is important as well. So when you're practicing your golf swing in the elevator mirror on the way to work, you at least know what should happen and what shouldn't happen.
Right, exactly.
And then in transition, it's not that you just separate your legs and the ball drops. It's when you shift pressure into your lead foot, that there creates space between your legs that then comes through. Now, it was a bit of a trick question, right? Now, hitting golf balls with a ball between your legs is going to be a difficult challenge even for the best players in the world because it just adds a whole extra element. However, you always want intention behind your swing. So let's say you are practicing this without a golf ball, Link, put it between your legs. The most important thing I want you to do is make sure you brush the ground. Don't just swing willy-nilly because the whole purpose of this is to help you get the feeling of keeping your height in the backswing, learning how to use the legs correctly in the backswing, transition them correctly in the downswing, but connecting it to an outcome. And if the ball's on the ground, we can brush the ground over and over again. Guess what? Put the ball in, happy days. So show us that. Perfect. Now, recommendation, what would you say? How many reps of that to hitting a shot, Megan?
I would say, at least 15 to 20 of feeling like you're making decent contact with the ground and you're seeing that you're catching the ground in the same spot each time, and getting more comfortable with having that in there and the timing of when it falls out. Like you said, like just hearing a ball drop or having something on your body changes things. So getting more comfortable in dry swings first before you're putting a golf ball in there is definitely going to help.
Well, I know everyone wants to see you try and hit a ball with the medicine ball. Not that we would recommend it, but let's put Linger to the challenge.
No pressure.
Now,
but I normally hit a 7-iron, probably 170 yards, 175 yards. I'm going to try to hit this 70, 80 yards because it's not about anything as far as a golf shot on the course. I'm just trying to create a feeling. So I'm going at a very, very slow speed. So I'm going to do a rehearsal. I'm going to just try to get to the top. Okay. This is where the ball would kind of come out. Try to keep some rhythm to it.
Absolutely perfect. And if you can get to that stage, which Link is a very capable player, ex-tour player himself, and really good coach. Now, being able to do that in real time, I wouldn't actually see there's any benefit relative to just doing good practice swings, to be honest. It's more about the movement pattern and doing it over and over again. The problem with when you try and hit shots doing that, you get too fixated on the outcome of the shot rather than the movement and the process of the drill.
100%.
So if you're struggling with your contact, it looks like your body is changing levels and height. Your knees are doing funky things on camera. Your buddies are making fun of your swing because this looks weird. Well, it could be very closely connected to how your legs are working in the golf swing. Use a medicine ball between your knees. Feel like it stays in contact. You drop it in transition. And that right there could be the ticket to longer, straighter golf shots.
Thanks for watching this video. YouTube thinks that you would benefit from watching this one next. So click that card and it could be the tip that you need to take your game to the next level. I'll see you next time.